So starting off tonight, we have the Colts going to the Mile High to face off Russell Wilson and a struggling Broncos team that is still 2-2, whereas the Colts last week lost versus the Titans in a game where Matt Ryan went off for 350 plus passing yards. That Colts passing attack is rolling. Mo Alley Cox, Alec Pierce, the other tight end Granson, and the crazy thing was, Michael Pittman only had 31 yards, and it was still rolling. But there's some issues with that rushing attack and the offensive line that is very much overrated. I'm going to start with you, Brandon, the guy who has been a staunch Broncos or really Russell Wilson advocate through all these struggles. Who do you have winning today? And more importantly, whatever team that loses, is it time to panic for them, given how the season started?
Yeah, I'm happy you corrected yourself because not a Denver Broncos fan at all. I'm just a fan of Russell Wilson, and I'm going to defend him because it's annoying what's happening to him right now. Excuse me. But for this game, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Shaq Leonard and Jonathan Taylor for the Indianapolis Colts are out for today, and Javonte Williams and Randy Gregory for the Denver Broncos are out. The Broncos did sign Latavius Murray. If you remember, he played for the New Orleans Saints just about 4 days ago on Sunday. So there's some shifting around going on both teams. Both are missing key players. Probably the Colts a little bit more effective with Shaq Leonard, arguably their best defender, and Jonathan Taylor, without a doubt, probably their best player on the team. Maybe him and Quentin Nelson are rivaling each other. I know Nelson's having a down year, but I'm gonna pick Denver this week for tonight. The Colts have not looked impressive. Denver's not looked impressive. Both teams have been disappointing to everybody. A lot of teams had the Broncos, you know, challenging with the Chiefs and Chargers as the number one team in the AFC West. A lot of people, including myself, and I think everybody on this show here, picked the Indianapolis Colts to win the division of the AFC South. Neither look really likely right now, if we're going to be honest. The Jaguars look like they're not in control, but they've looked like the much better team for the first 4 weeks. And Denver is probably the third best team in the AFC West, but there's a considering drop off between the Chargers, who have also they've been ravaged with injuries though. So when I look at it, I'm gonna take the Broncos. I'm gonna have my faith in Russell Wilson. I'm gonna retract my statement. John hit me with a fact last week or last episode that Jerry Jeudy only had one drop this season, and I tried to look up that stat. I couldn't find it, but I know that his drops have gone down from his rookie season, where he had 10 drops his rookie season. I believe one drop last year, and if I'm going to believe John on this, there's only been one drop this year. So he's cleaned that up, but he needs to be more consistent on the field. After that one big game in week one, it's kind of been a little bit. I'm pretty sure he found the end zone last week or something like that. I think he's found the end zone after week one, but it's not been, he has not taken the step like the other guys in his draft class, like a Michael Pittman who was taken after him, Justin Jefferson. There's another one that I'm forgetting, but T. Higgins. Yeah, T. Higgins. So he hasn't taken that step. And it's just, I need him to step up. And I know people are going to say, well, Brandon, Russell Wilson also needs to elevate him. It's true. But, it works both ways. They both got to elevate each other up. And right now, Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton for me are not getting the job done for Russell Wilson. And Melvin Gordon, I mean, the 4 fumbles through 4 games is just not good. He's only lost 2 of them, but you're putting the ball on the floor at a very high rate. That's not okay. It needs to be cleaned up. He's going to be taking the starting back this week. But there's a reason they signed Latavius Murray. He's an insurance policy. If Melvin Gordon puts the ball on the floor again, Melvin Gordon might not see the field for the rest of the game tonight. So I'm going to put my faith in Russell Wilson, not putting my faith in Nathaniel Hackett because he's just the coaching levels on both teams. It's just Frank Wright is a way better head coach than Nathaniel Hackett. One more thing, and then I'll kick it to either John or Justin, whoever wants to take it. Russell Wilson right now, he's been sacked 12 times through 4 games. That's 7th in the NFL, and he's been hit 28 times. The offensive line is not getting the job done.
Yeah, you're right. They're not getting the job done. But as we've mentioned before, that whole team really hasn't been stepping up to the plate. It takes obviously it's more than one guy. It's not all on Russ, but it's a team effort there. And if the team isn't putting it all in, then that's the results you're going to get. But with the with Jonathan Taylor out, with Shaq Leonard out for the Colts, and John already mentioned their passing attack was rolling last week, 350 plus passing yards for Matt Ryan. Shows he still has a little bit left in the tank in that arm. I still can't roll with the Colts. I think losing Jonathan Taylor is big time. So I'm going Broncos country. Let's ride. Let's ride. Because I really think I know John like that. But I honestly I saw Jerry Judy and Cortland Sutton, while they didn't light the world on fire, they were your best receivers on the field the other day. Even though it was a losing effort in Vegas, they both found the end zone, which is something to be optimistic about. And going into this game, I believe it's at home. Correct me if yes, it is at home. It's in Mile High. Russ is dealing with a little shoulder issue, but he's more than fine to play tonight. I think the Broncos get it rolling tonight. I think the Colts are very vulnerable, and it's time to kick them while they're down. John said before this, is this panic mode for whichever team that loses? If Denver were to lose this game, I don't panic just yet. Um, but if the Colts were, you're falling to 1-3-1. You really don't look that good. You're going against some teams that, one play away from probably winning some games. So you can't even pull out these one score games. And quite frankly, I don't think they have the weapons on offense to get them over the top. So I could see this being another one score game for the Colts and the Broncos, but I think the Broncos ultimately come out on top. I think Melvin Gordon finds himself because he's still a very good running back. The fumble issues, the butterfingers, that he should clear that up. But like you said, Latavius Murray is now in the fold, and Latavius Murray is a tough runner. He is a tough runner. Had a solid game against Minnesota the other week. So I'm gonna roll with the Broncos. Don't forget to watch it. It's on Amazon Prime. So if you guys don't know where to watch it, I got you.
The Amazon Prime, I don't have a problem with it per se, but for like the generation of fans that maybe aren't familiar with technology, it is kind of messed up that they just lose Thursday night football, which is so accessible to an app where like if you don't know how to set up an Amazon Prime account, and by the way, you get like a free month if you don't know that, then like you're just gonna miss out on Thursday night entirely. So be sure if you haven't to go, actually get the free 1 month and you can see it for yourself.
So just to bring a point to that, uh, somebody I work with, my coworker, he's an older guy, late 50s, and he hasn't been able to watch Thursday Night Football because he didn't know it was on Amazon. And he doesn't really, technology wise, like John was saying, that generation, they don't really know that much. You know what I mean? They're not on Twitter, they're not on Instagram. How are they finding out this news? So I would, they're probably never gonna release it unless it's like an insanely high number so they can sing their praises of the actual viewership, because that's how streaming people work. They don't really like Netflix. Netflix will say how much the Jeffrey Dahmer series was watched, right? Because it's the highest watched thing, but they won't tell you the other stuff because they don't want you to know how bad the other stuff is doing. But go ahead, John.
At the end of the day, I know a lot of people are blaming Frank Reich for the Colts' issues. This offensive line has been trash. Quentin Nelson, the last 2 years, has just not been the same player, and it's only gotten worse and worse. Ryan Kelly at center. Last week against Tennessee, Jeffrey Simmons, for as incredible as he has been over the last 2 or 3 years, he looked like Aaron Donald. And that's the biggest concern I have with this Colts team, because now we're starting to see Matt Ryan, as a passer, just do his thing. But at his age, that guy goes down so easily. If you get to him, he's not going to evade pressure like a Zach Wilson did all week long against the Steelers. And for the Colts, against this Broncos defense, for as much as I hate to go with the worst head coach, Patrick Surtain is one of, if not the best young corner, maybe outside of AJ Terrell, and Trayvon Diggs has been balling at a crazy high level. But I do have a lot of optimism in this Broncos defense, and I think it will be a very close game. And I say all of that just to let you know I still have the Colts winning. At the end of the day, coaching does matter, and I think Frank Reich, he's going to do his thing. He's going to have Matt Ryan clicking. The play calling has been better, but I do think it'll be down to the very last wire. 24-21 Colts. See what I did there?
With no Jonathan Taylor though,
He had 41 yards last week, less than 2 yards a
but
carry.
it doesn't matter
They
though how
lost.
bad he's playing. It's still a threat when he's on the field, and now that threat is gone. So now the defense is like, all right, it's open house on Matt Ryan. And you have just said how bad that offensive line is. Now, Denver's defense, I mean, Bradley Chubb has been a complete disappointment since year one. Excuse me. He hasn't played a full season since week one. He has his most sacks since, not week one, sorry. He hasn't played a full season since year one. And year one, he had 12 sacks. And then after that, it's just been downhill. He had 1 7.5 sack season where he played 14 games. But other than that, it's just been a complete disappointment.
Fun fact, the Colts have they've been moving the football, but they have the least yards per game this year, 14.2. Less than the Bears.
I should say Matt Ryan has been hit 33 times, and that's third in the NFL.
In part, that's to him, but it's also the offense.
Yeah.
One.
So Denver's got to get after it. The D line, I mean, the O lines, both O lines are there to be had by both teams. So I just think the Denver offense is less affected by the injuries. They've still got some players on the field. Matt Ryan, it's basically Michael Pittman and who else?
Well, Alec Pierce had 80 yards last week, and Mo Alley Cox, freaking tight end playing. They have so much size there between him and the rookie Jelani Woods. It's pretty ridiculous.
Mo Alley Cox is underrated, man.
It's going to be interesting because Surtain is probably going to line up head to head with Michael Pittman, and then you're going to be able to shift coverage to, you can basically say, Surtain, you got him. Now we got 10 other people to be able to work against 10v10. So it's like, it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting.
Darius Slay jumped on Pickett's side, and he said, I'm taking notes from his game. That's a long time, 9-year NFL vet taking notes from a second-year player. It's like 23 years old. It speaks volumes to how great he's going to be.